Hi, my name is Cindy Rang with the Fabric Patching Ephrata, Washington. You can find us at fabricpatch.net, and today we're doing block number 7 of our Jaye's Bouquet block of the month. All right, this is the lovely Jaye's Bouquet quilt, kind of a really fun project for a beginner, because what Corey has done is she has mixed some super easy piecing blocks that are kind of a fun shape. It's kind of cool to see something that's rectangular, actually a couple of small squares or rectangles, paired with the hand embroidered blocks. Now through hers, she comes up with all of the directions, and they're fairly simple stitches. There's probably 8 or 9 stitches that are in there. But as we go, I'm just kind of showing you some extra ones just for fun, just in case you want to do that. She also, in her pattern, tells you exactly the color of thread that she's using. This is, of course, her fabric from her collection. You can do all kinds of fun things if you'd like. But as we've worked through it, what we've done is we've done the pieced block, and then 2 weeks later we've done the embroidered block, and then the pieced block, and then 2 weeks later the embroidered block. We are clear down here. 2 weeks ago we did these 2 blocks. I did show you a little different way how to make this quarter square triangle block, so that instead of cutting all of your squares into triangles and piecing them individually, I showed you just kind of a fast way to do that. And then now today what we're going to do is we're going to do this beautiful thistle block. And a lot of the stitches we've already covered in some of the previous stitches. In fact, let me refer to my little notes here. We have done in class 1, we did the chain stitch, the back stitch, the fly stitch, and the feather stitch. In class number 2, we did the stem stitch, the fly stitch, the uneven blanket stitch, and a lazy daisy. Class number 3, we did the drizzle stitch and French knots. Class number 4, we talked all about thread weights and how to make a decision and maybe change your mind a little bit, and what that stitch looks like if you try to change out your thread just a little bit. Stitch number 5, or class number 5 rather, we did the bullion knots and the palestrina knot, and then class number 6 we did the bullion loop. Super fun. And then today what we're going to do is we're going to do the wheat stitch, also known as the wheat ear, and it's what she did right down here. Kind of a fun little stitch. The other thing that we're going to do is the herringbone stitch, and you can see the herringbone right across the top here. And what's kind of funny about that is she tells you to do the herringbone, and I'm going to hold this up. She shows you in the great big, because that's what's really nice about her pattern, is she gives you this really oversized color pattern so you can see everything that she tells you to do. And then this one, this is actually the size. So when you trace out your block, this is the size that you're using. That's just, you can see larger than life, just to kind of show you what's going on. Well, anyway, when you trace this, what you'll see is you can see that you do all of your back stitching in here, and then that herringbone stitch, you're just going to do kind of across the top. So that's just a little thing I wanted to mention, is that you don't actually see it on the drawing, but you do see it on the stitching. So anyway, we're going to reconfigure just a little bit. I'm going to turn around a little bit, and I'm going to show you those 2 stitches. Okay, I have my hoop. I just want to mention the dome threaded needle case. We've talked about this quite a bit. I love these, and I have 3 of them. Whenever you need a needle, all you have to do is just pull it out, and all I have to do is just pull straight. It comes right out. If I want to load another one, if I'm going to have somebody thread my needles for me, they just have to come over, put it in here, slide it through that, and then what will happen is it winds it right into the appropriate little channel. If something bad happens and something gets knotted in there, you can go ahead and release this, pull the whole thing apart, take everything out. I can tell you, I have never ever once had to do that. It always works just perfectly each time and pulls out, oops, and look, now I've jinxed myself, and pulls everything out exactly the way that it's supposed to. I'm just going to put that back in there where it goes. All right. Anyway, keeps them all threaded and ready to go. Okay, the one that we're going to do first, once you've taken that out, you're not going to put a knotted thread in your needle case. So, of course, we're going to do our quilter's knot. And for a herringbone, all you're doing is you're basically crossing over. And I went ahead and drew a line here. You can do it a little bit more free motion if you'd like to. So we're coming up on the bottom. We're going to kind of angle over, take a little stitch, however big or small you want it to be. You just want it to be fairly consistent. Oops, sorry, get that out of the way. And then I'm going to come back. Come down here. Take a little stitch.
So we couldn't quite see that. Is your thread in front of the needle, or was it behind?
My thread is behind the needle so that I don't get it all tangled up. So I'm just going to kind of hold this up out of the way. Oh, you're right. It's going to be behind it. Not sure that I went over far enough. Now I'm going to go over the top and come down. I'm just going to kind of keep it out of the way though. Do my stitch. I'm always keeping my thread up on the top. Does that make sense? Are you able to see that?
We saw that.
Okay. I'll just do another one. This is so big. I don't know why I drew such a big line.
It's cute though.
It is kind of cute. And so if you look, I'm just going to show you up close on her picture. You can see it's pretty tiny. You know, all she did, and we can show you on the quilt again when we're done, but she has you do all of this stitching, and then she just wants you to kind of go in here and just put in a little bit of texture. Just a little bit of texture, a little darker thread, and so that's what she's had you do. So it's just a quick little, and again, it's called a herringbone. Really simple, and then when you end, you're just going to end. So you can see we started straight, just ching, 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 and then just ended right there on the line. And you would add that afterwards. All right, so this one is the herringbone. I'm just going to go ahead and bury my stitch, and then let's go ahead. I'm just going to knot this one off. I'm going to grab a different color, and we'll do the wheat ear. Okay, so the wheat ear, we call it the wheat ear. She listed it as the wheat stitch. I think both are correct. Whichever you'd like to call it is fine. And it's supposed to just look like a grain of wheat. So what we'll do, and again, I'll try to, I could have a line, but I don't need a line really. I'm just going to go ahead and come up and kind of diagonally, I'm going to come down. Take a tiny little stitch, so I have a little slash, and then I'm going to come up kind of opposite and come in the same hole, do another one. And then if this is the top of my wheat, I'm going to go ahead and put the top on it. So I'm going to come up and come down that same hole. Then I'm going to go ahead and move down the line. So I'm going to come out down the line, and then I'm going to go through those three. Now, some people will go ahead and go through with the eye of the needle. I am one of those people that will spear that thread and unravel that thread. So I always just turn my needle around, and using the eye, I'm just going to push that through. I've made a little loop, and now I'm going to go ahead and go back where I started. Okay, and then I'm going to start all over. I'm going to come up on the side, maybe about there. Go in that same hole. Come on this side. That's a little short, but doesn't matter. Go in that same hole. And then I'm going to work my way down. And can you see that, if you look up close, can you see that I missed that hole. If I were sitting and positioned right, that was unusual. It's pretty easy to get in that same hole, but don't let that make you crazy. It's no big deal. If you have to fix something like that, the only way to fix it is to unthread your needle, pull that stitch out, rethread your needle, and go back. But because this stitch is actually going to wrap all of that together anyway, I'm going to leave that, go through, wrap it around, and look, you won't even be able to tell. See? Looks just fine. And then I'm going to go ahead and go back in that same hole. I'm also going to mention, part of the reason I'm having a little bit of trouble, can you see the looseness of my fabric? That's not great. I really needed to have fixed that before I started. You really do want pretty good tension on your fabric, because the tension on your thread is kind of variable. Anyway, same thing. I'm just going to keep going from this side down into that same hole, from this side down into that same hole, and then I'm going to work down and come up and go through all of those and go back through that hole. And I'll just keep working my way down. And again, you can call it the wheat stitch or the wheat ear stitch, whatever you prefer. And let's look over here. This is where she did it. And you can see that her picture, so let's look back at mine again. A whole lot of variability with those stitches. Don't let that make you crazy at all. It's all perfectly good. Let's look at this perfect quilt. Same thing is happening. See how there's a big stitch there, short stitch there. The angles are a little bit different. That's what makes it so adorable, is that it is the imperfection of handwork. And so it makes it really, really nice. The other thing that's nice is it looks like this thread, she chose something with a very slight variegation, which will also create just a little bit more texture. So anyway, so there we go. That's our herringbone stitch and our wheat ear stitch, or wheat stitch, along with the other blocks that are the other stitches we've already learned. One other thing I just want to mention up here is that with the French knots, she's telling you to do varied wraps. So what that would mean is these down here, you're probably going to wrap your French knot maybe 3 or 4 times, then maybe 2 times, then maybe just 1 time. So you're varying the size of your French knots with the number of wraps that you're using. All right, Brianna had to point out that I made my herringbone ginormous and my wheat stitch super tiny. And I don't know why. I think it's just because of the lines, you know, that's that hard thing. That's why it's kind of fun when you know where you're staying and you know where your stitches are gonna be, that's fine. I just started out with something that's a little bit too big, but anyway, all right, so I hope you enjoyed our quick little tutorial. All of these other stitches are just simple stitches we've already learned. This is block number 7, and then what we're going to do next month for block number 8, we're going to do these 2 together because, of course, this is a rectangular square and a square. Super simple. That's going to take you less time to make than it is for me to tell you how to do it. And then we're going to learn a couple of new stitches for this block. And then we'll keep moving on. So thanks for hanging out. Thank you for watching our video. We invite you to leave a comment, hit the like button, or better yet, subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. You can also visit our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or Pinterest pages, or find all of those things and our online store at fabricpatch.net.